So the question now is, where is RISC-V today? And to answer this question, I would like to invite Calista Redmond, the CEO of RISC-V, to give an overview of where RISC-V stands at the moment. Thank you.
Wow, you know how to pack a house, Europe. Well done. Thank you so much for showing up. And some of you were at our member meeting yesterday, and we had the pleasure of coming together to be a community, to be a membership, and now we're opening those doors beyond members to the broader community. And I've already met with several of you this morning who have come from all corners of the world, from Asia Pacific, from the Americas, from Europe, and every far stretch of the land. So I am so impressed. So take a moment and let's applaud yourselves. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your strategic investment in RISC-V. We have come so far. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be seeing on these monitors, but it is not a presentation. So if someone in the back could help me with that, that would be fantastic. Until then, I will look up here. Ah, there we go. Thank you so much. Sorry, small technical glitch as we get rolling. We have a tremendous week here together in Munich, and I am so grateful to the organizing committee and everyone for the paper submissions, the talks, the preparations. So much thought leadership is collected in this room. So much thought leadership that is driving the future of compute, not just in Europe, but around the world. Because what we are finding is it is the base of building on a global standard, a standard instruction set architecture that is now found in nearly every design going forward, that there is some element of open, that there is a RISC-V ISA, that there are workloads that are reliant on the open collaboration of technologists and developers around the world. And it is that foundation that allows us to innovate and differentiate on top of and around it, while rest assured the ISA is not changing. The extensions that we work so hard on to ratify are not changing, that we can be assured for the durable, long-term strategic merit of RISC-V. That is not just the technology, but the collective investment, the thought leadership of everyone in this room, of everyone around the world that is taking that step forward to collaborate. It is truly a profound moment in history, and I'm so excited to see so many seizing that opportunity. In fact, you know, in addition to growing nearly 30% last year, we are continuing to see our members coming on board, getting in the ship. And it's not just that they're signing up for the first time, but many of our members are digging even deeper. We hear this from companies like Google, who have kind of shifted their centers of gravity to embracing RISC-V in more parts of their business. We see this in NVIDIA, who went from strategic member to a premier member. We see this in collaborative efforts such as Kintaris in Europe, which is a collection of companies coming together to look first at automotive. We see this in OpenShip, who just joined as a premier member of RISC-V, which is a collection of over 50 different companies based out of Barcelona. It's not just the commercial value to any single company, but it's the collaborative efforts that are driving us forward. It is the collaborative efforts of governments like the Brazil Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, who came in as a premier member because having both digital sovereignty as well as collaborative global opportunity is what is driving economies forward. It's the European Union who is investing millions of euros in a digital sovereignty move that engages with the rest of the world. Investing locally, but engaging globally. So we see this in our membership, we see this in the diversity of geographies, of stakeholder interests, from students in universities to multinationals, from tool providers to IP providers. This is an exciting time. So there are 4 things that I'm going to talk about today, in addition to all the stuff I've already mentioned. So there's an incredible market opportunity. At some level, simply leading edge technology does not usually win the business case with your CFO, right? There has to be opportunity. How are we accelerating, saving money? How are we building a business in a new space, in an adjacent area for our business? What is that market opportunity? Not just the technical merits. However, technical innovation is profound with RISC-V. Being able to advance the state of the art in traditional workloads as well as new frontiers like AI. Building out more opportunities in IoT, building out opportunities for data centers, achieving efficiency, increasing in performance, maybe both. And then collaboration. Collaboration happens both out in the industry as well as within the RISC-V International community. We see this every day in the work groups that come together at all hours, and we see this out in the industry as joint ventures are formed, as collaboration is invested in by governments and unions. And then finally, if we weren't interested in commercial success, this really would be a hobby, a fun hobby. But I'm sure we all have lots of hobbies that we don't have enough time to get to. But RISC-V International wants to see you successful. At the end of the day, we want to see research move into commercialization. We want to see technology transfer that makes a difference for humanity. We want to see technology transfer that changes the way we live and work. And that's possible on RISC-V. So we are absolutely invested in the commercial success of all of our members. Not of our own. We want to see your success, and we want to celebrate that success that you're having. So let's dive in. Incredible market potential. What does that really mean? So we are continuing to see a strong growth trajectory. And you know what? I get a lot of charts that look like this. It's just a solid growth swoop going upwards. You know, the CAGRs may seem a little weird because when you start with a small base and grow upwards, the math says, well, of course you're going to have a significant CAGR. But we're looking at more than 16 billion SoCs by 2030. You may have heard me say in the past 10 to 13 billion cores in market already today. We know that number is low. We know that number is low because we anecdotally hear about millions of cores going to market every single day. But the analysts are saying those numbers are accurate, and here's where we're going to be in 2030. And we're no longer going to count by cores, we're going to count by SoCs. So it's an incredibly exciting time. But where's the money? What does that translate to? Well, that translates to nearly $90 billion. Well, over $90 billion by 2030. That's growing off a base of about $6 billion today. This is a very meaningful market with a very strong growth trajectory. This is looking at a lot of those greenfield opportunities where there is not currently a strong front leader. This is your opportunity. Where you don't currently have someone who has the mass market share because it's a new field like AI, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity to bring your innovations, to do software and hardware co-design that really starts to translate into commercial success. What does that actually look like? As I've mentioned, in Brazil, we have massive investment going on, not just in Brazil, but in collaboration with other countries. Some of that news isn't quite public yet, so we'll keep it there. But look at all the collaboration opportunities. They are investing in universities, in incubators, in collaboration, in business endeavors, as well as research. You know, something that I appreciate about Europe as well as Brazil and other areas is the tight connection between research and industry. By putting together research institutes like Fraunhofer or El Dorado in Brazil, you're able to bring together that thought leadership and quickly translate it through collaboration to those commercial interests. That's not something you see in every industry, but it is something you see in technology. It's something that you see in compute. OpenShip is joining RISC-V International as a premier member, and I mentioned them earlier. And this is another example where coming together to achieve something through public-private partnership is essential. OpenShip is largely funded through the European Union, and some of their leaders are here today. Let's look at different implementations. So Scaleway for cloud, automotive-grade Linux, something that most in the automotive industry are leaning on heavily today, now supporting RISC-V. Codasip and Renaissance, continuing to bring innovations to market. Andes technology has invested deeply in RISC-V, everything from the small lightweight to high performance in AI. And then the DC Roma laptop. This is a great machine, a great example of where the state of the art is going. The proliferation and volumes that we're going to see coming out of laptops, servers, and other data center implementations, as well as things like mobile. A fantastic opportunity. This all rests on technical innovation. Why RISC-V? It's not just because it's a standard ISA and available without, a proprietary constraints such as licensing or royalties or things like that, but it's inherent in RISC-V itself. When you think about the average R&D spend of an organization, you're looking at somewhere between 10 and 20%. Some pin that number higher or lower depending on if you're in the software or hardware part of the business. But that R&D spend, do you want to spend that recreating the base building blocks, the foundation of the house, or do you want to make sure that you can invest in that differentiation, in that competitive value? That's why RISC-V matters, because of the technical capabilities that you can accelerate in your own roadmap by leveraging a base standard like that. So what does that mean? At the center, it is the design flexibility. It is the scalability that you can achieve in processing, the code efficiency that you can do by taking a very modular approach. That does not mean that you come and are beholden to the incrementally built ISA. It means that you start with a smaller base, 47 instructions, and you modularly add only those extensions that you need with full transparency. That means that you can achieve performance advantages. That means that you can work within your power constraints for your design and really truly meet the workload demands that you're facing. That makes you more competitive. Then build that out into the robust ecosystem. An ecosystem that is all working from the same base ISA. So you have interoperability and portability of not just software, but tools as well. So this all leads to realizing the promise of your innovation, of being able to bring that innovation to market faster. And there are many different stakeholders. You think about countries. Every country, the European Union, are all interested in building their local economies. That means talent from universities, skilling and shifting workforces. That means investing for and insulating for any risks and supply chain disruptions, investing locally. But countries have realized over decades that investing only for your own success really constrains you to your own borders. Investing in a global movement gives you global opportunity, global access to innovation partners, development partners, global access to supply chains, and without the vendor lock-in, global access to markets. That's why it's important to work with standards. When you think about Ethernet or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or HTTP, other standards that we lean heavily on every day, imagine if you had to invent your own. You're there all by yourself. So countries and continents are realizing that collaborating on that standard is essential. Multinationals. Most multinationals have a legacy investment in another architecture. However, They too are interested in that greenfield opportunity, in moving to adjacent spaces, in adding acceleration and AI to existing workloads, in bringing something competitive and compelling to their data centers. Maybe it's because those data centers are growing so fast that they need to achieve greater power efficiency. Thinking about green data centers, what can processing capabilities do there? Multinationals are very strategically invested and have a lot of R&D that they can also bring to bear in helping cultivate the global RISC-V ecosystem. They also are very interested in not having vendor lock-in. Vendor lock-in for their supply chain, but also not having vendor lock-in for their strategic roadmap that is important to their organization. Research. Research loves collaboration. They love pushing the boundaries of technical innovation, and they love seeing the commercialization of that technology, the technology transfer that goes on. By collaborating, we have a global network of research that we can leverage. Our research and innovation area of membership through universities is one of the fastest growing aspects of RISC-V. It's where we found our roots, and it's where we continue to grow. That not only cultivates the next generation of talent, but also builds and insulates the research and state-of-the-art that we use going forward. Startups. There is so much VC investment going on in RISC-V. We get calls from VCs asking, like, what's the hot new RISC-V startup? Where should I be investing? I try not to pick favorites, I promise. But I say, you know what, we've got so many members, pick your industry, pick your vertical, pick your slice of the pie, and go have a talk with them, right? So we try and give that opportunity, and at the same time, we see startups becoming wildly successful. We have several startups on the board of directors. These are folks who are strategically invested from the start in RISC-V. That's a different playing field. That's a different starting point than the multinationals. And this is also, with startups, we see a lot of great partnerships going on, a lot of great collaboration. So let's talk about collaboration for a minute. So RISC-V International, our goal is your success, your wild success. The more successful you are, the more we bring this community forward, and the more chairs we'll need to add to this room in the next few years, right? So what does that mean? Technical working groups. Technical working groups are really where you get to work shoulder to shoulder with your peers. Learning, infusing talent, not just in universities, but also for those who are shifting gears in their own organizations through RISC-V certification and other things. Software enablement, ensuring that we have a rich, vibrant, growing, and accelerated software environment to run on RISC-V. And then marketing, making sure that you can get to your customers and your customers know all about you. So we've been making some great progress. 40 new specifications ratified in the last couple of years, which is 123 extensions. This number is going to go up even more by the end of the week. We've got a board meeting on Friday where we'll ratify a bunch more. We have about 75 different technical working groups. These are very specific areas of focus for the organization that bring the experts in each of those areas together. So let's talk about the software ecosystem. So our role is to enable software on ratified RISC-V extensions and the base ISA. It is our goal to work with the upstream repositories to make sure that that is a robust and vibrant ecosystem. We are contributing developer boards and other hardware to that ecosystem to ensure that porting to RISC-V, there are no barriers. And we're continuing to make progress there. And we're investing deeply in the developer experience to streamline and accelerate the on-ramp for developers around the world to RISC-V. We're not completely there yet. We are continuing to work on this and invest in this, and we invite you to join with us in these journeys. But what does it mean? What does it mean? What is RISC-V doing in this space? So at the initiation, at the idea stage, we take those ideas and into those specifications to draft a spec, right? Build a working group to really kind of bring the thought leadership into that specification. Remember, we are freezing things for the test of time. This is not an opportunity where you want to change something later. We then build out simulators and make sure that this is double tested on both SAIL as well as QEMU and Spike, so that we are sure, absolutely positive it works great. Then we enable some of the compilers that are necessary for those workloads, and then we start to write tests. And those tests then start to go into POCs to prove the value. At this point, we're ready for freeze. We move there into public review. This is not just about what we members want to do, but we want the entire industry to have complete visibility, complete transparency into the work that we do. So we engage the community in that. We then take it to final votes with the technical steering committee and then the board and freeze. This is just the beginning, right? We take that then to seed the upstream software, whether that is with the operating systems, primarily around Linux, and then we move that into the next level of the community for embedded commercial applications, Android, cloud, and other colleagues like RISE. So RISE is a directed fund that works on specific pieces of the overall architecture, or overall software ecosystem. That bottom little thumbnail, that's the ecosystem that we're building out. And we're starting to grow that quite rapidly. We have more than 100 software packages that we're tracking today on our software dashboard. So we're continuing to perfect this and cultivate this. So I mentioned a couple of the areas that we work on. First, in the developer boards program, we've shipped dozens of boards out already. And in the lab partners, where you can have a cloud environment, largely supported by the organizations you see here. In the Learn category, we're continuing to see a lot more interest in RISC-V certification. Certifying talent to say, yep, I am strong on RISC-V, enabling companies to vet candidates and candidates to further their career aspirations as well as potential. And by the way, members do receive a significant discount on training, and at some levels there are even free training available. So I hope you'll engage there. If there are courses that you'd like to see, we also are inviting lots of content and authoring there. Visibility, this is where commercialization really starts to hit, right? So bring your stories. We have lots of opportunities to amplify your success in our news and our blogs. And we also showcase RISC-V solutions on Exchange as well as our ecosystem landscape. Come to events like this. Get up on stage. Share with the community what you're doing. And by the way, we do record these so you can use them later. We want your eminence to grow. We want your success to grow, and we are very committed to surrounding you with those resources. I mentioned the power of relationships. We have lots of time, as Stefan pointed out, for networking, growing your colleague set, growing your development partners, and growing your customer sets. Build those relationships that stand the test of time. I'm sure many of us felt the power of relationships through the pandemic, right? When suddenly we couldn't come to events like this, we were relying on those relationships we'd already built. Relationships last for long periods of time. I love coming to events like this because there are folks now that I've been working with in RISC-V for more than 5 years. And it's so exciting to me to continue to meet up with you. But there's a lot more to it than that. When you work shoulder to shoulder with industry, the brightest in the industry, that feeds your own learning. It accelerates the way that you look at the development challenges in front of you. You then bring that back to your teams, and it changes and shifts and progresses and accelerates your strategic roadmap ahead. That's a powerful thing that is sometimes hard to measure, but how can you accelerate your rate and pace? And by the way, engaging in open and collaborative communities is both a great way to find talent and retain talent. Employees are much happier when they get to go collaborate with the others who are passionate about their particular domain. Wild customer success. What does that mean? So we've seen a lot of those hockey sticks. We are on course to be about a quarter of all these different workloads by 2030. That's like a lot of growth. That's up from like 0, right? And that's not just on pace with the rate of growth, it's growing faster than the overall pace of growth for those particular industries. So what do those look like? Wearables, notebooks, data centers, communications, infrastructure, handsets, AI acceleration, AI plus name your favorite implementation, right? So there's so much opportunity and so much potential for each of us. And by the way, this is anyone's game. There's no barrier here. Don't sit back and say, oh, someone else has that one already. This is anyone's game. So let's think about who are seizing those opportunities in AI. We see collaborations going on with Antmicro, Low Risk, and VeriSilicon. We see internal use from folks like Meta. We see commercialization going on with companies and young companies like Ventana. Esperanto, a couple of leaders in the high performance space. And many of you could be on this page. But we continue to see the state of the art progressing and more adoption of AI because of the inherent technical capabilities with using the RISC-V standard, but also unique aspects such as vector that are very instrumental in these workloads. So think about these 4 things. Think about the market potential that can drive your business forward, that makes that investment make sense. Think about the technical capabilities and innovation that you can only do on RISC-V. Think of the collaboration and thought leadership around this room that can help you get to that level of success. And when it comes to success, let us help you celebrate. So I want to make sure that you think about RISC-V in our community as the coming together of both the technology, the business, as well as the research. We are surrounding each of us with the other stakeholders that make the difference in our journey. So that adoption is growing fast, and we have a very global network to lean on. Our priorities as an organization this year are really continuing that technical progress, whether it's in software or in the extensions that we're ratifying, streamlining and accelerating our developer experience, and building out a certification plan. That program is well underway with the Certification Steering Committee. And I have an ask of you. Take action. This is your time. This is your community. This is your future. So how are you joining in and potentially leading in work groups? How are you collaborating both in the technical groups as well as out in the business or research domains? Help us advance industry adoption. What can we do to support you? Is it engaging in our market development groups? Is it engaging in our HPC SIG or automotive market development groups? Various areas that we can help with. So join into those groups. Bring your customers, your suppliers. Let us help you tell that story. And now, here and now, task for the day, make 5 new friends. And I can be one of your friends. Reach out to me anytime. But make 5 new friends. See where that takes you next. Share what you're working on, what you're interested in, what you're looking for next, and understand the power of this community, because it has absolutely taken us from 0 to 100. And then be sure and let me know what I can do for you. What can I do to help your success? And have a blast. Have an amazing time. Celebrate where we've come from and look forward to where we're going. Thank you.